Abdul Colley, ex-Muslim, now a Christian from Senegal, had to endure a lot. And I'm not going to start from the beginning, but you can hear how he compares Islam with Christianity, with the Lord Jesus, Muhammad with the Lord Jesus Christ. It's so amazing. And see how God saved him, from sin, from deception. And now he's a believer in Jesus Christ. Let's listen to his story.
About Muhammad, in order to get a good picture of his life, you have to go through the hadith, right? The Quran doesn't have too much information about Muhammad. It has some information, but not too much. But in the hadith, man, I start to figure out the way this man lived was a little bit barbaric. He was a violent man, and he was a man that it felt like every time he needed something, it's just like somehow everything just get turned into his favor by Allah to work out for him. And I come to find out that the revelation that he got, he wrestled against an angel, and himself, he believed that he was demon possessed. So it was just a weird encounter, and that can be a topic for a future video going forward. And come to find out that he married a 6-year-old girl, Aisha, and they consummated the marriage at 9 years old. Now, I don't know about anybody else. Okay, I'm married now, and I have 5 children. I have 3 girls, 2 boys, and nobody's marrying my daughter at no age of 6, and better not think about consummating anything at the age of 9. I would be in jail. I'll be in jail, that's just how disgusting that was. And I was disturbed when I studied and learned those type of things about Muhammad. It disturbed me. It really did disturb me. And I'm like, I can't model myself after that. And I was comparing the life of Muhammad, and I was comparing the little bit that I know about Jesus compared to Muhammad. And it's not even close, right? Jesus was a sinless man according to the Quran. Muhammad he fell for witchcraft, and he was sinful. And Muhammad is dead on a grave, not knowing the destination of where he's going. These are his words, right? This is what's there. He don't know where he's going. And Muhammad is supposed to be the last prophet, and yet Jesus is the prophet that's coming back in the end time. I was like, why isn't it Muhammad? Why is it Muhammad, the one coming back, right? And Jesus is the Messiah in the Quran. I don't think Muslims truly understand what being a Messiah truly means. We'll break that down in a future video. I don't think they truly understand what being a Messiah truly is, because if they did, or if Muhammad knew what it meant to be the Messiah, I don't think he would have made a mistake in adding the Jesus stories in the Quran. Yeah, I said that there. But ultimately, it started bringing doubt to the point where I started comparing myself with Muhammad, and I started to believe that I was a better person, morally speaking, compared to Muhammad, right? And I was confused. So I prayed and I asked God, like, God, listen, hey, I believe you have the truth for me. I believe you love me, and I believe that if you want me to follow you, you will reveal the truth to me no matter what it is. And when I made that prayer, I truly believe I was expecting Islam was going to be the way regardless. But I was open for it to be not the religion. I wasn't going to be blinded. And I went to bed that very same night, and I woke up the next day, and I had another encounter, except this encounter was actually completely different from the first one. This time the encounter, I wasn't falling nowhere, and it wasn't pitch black, nor was I afraid. It was the opposite. I was somewhere where it was extremely bright. I mean, it literally felt like I was standing in the center of the sun, how bright it was. However, it wasn't piercing to the point where like I had to guard up my eyes to see. I can see clearly, even though it was extremely bright, and I can feel this amazing peace. I can feel this amazing love and grace and comfort, and it's just like a place you don't ever want to leave. And I'm thinking in my head, like, how did I get here? Like, where am I? And then moments later, I fix my eyes forward, and I see a man standing there with his arms stretched wide open, and I could see his skin was glowing, his clothes was white, his glory was very magnificent. I'm gonna give an example. Back then, when I used to watch worldly movies, there's a movie called Twilight. where they're vampires, where when they step in the sun and their skin glow. Imagine that, except magnified, right? Magnified by like 10, or however you want to do it. But basically, that's how kind of was. He was glorified. And I noticed that this all of these peace, this love, this comfort and brightness was coming from this man I was standing in front of, and his eyes was on fire. Like it was like spinning in like it was fiery circular flames that I could see many different colors in there, and it was just piercing. And his hair was white, like pure white, the whitest pure I've ever seen ever in my life. And it was about shoulder length. And his feet was fire. It looked like it just came out of a furnace. Like that's what it looked like. And I've never read the Bible, keep in mind, up to this point in my life. I've never read a Bible, but just the way the book of Revelation described him is exactly how it looked like. I can say that now because I've read it. And I hear this person say to me, "I'm calling you home. I love you. I'm calling you home." And I was back in my room. And I knew consciously that I just stood in front of Jesus Christ. I knew that wasn't Muhammad. I knew that wasn't Allah. Like consciously, I felt in my heart and in my mind and in my spirit, I felt that God spoke to me there and told me who that was. He revealed that was Jesus Christ. But the stubbornness of me being Muslim, studying Islam, having all of the arguments that I've ever had of why Islam is true, all of that was basically, it was still there. I was still battling it. And ultimately, what it led me to do was call my girlfriend. Like, I think it was the following week, I called her. I asked her if I can go to church that's following Sunday. I think it was the following Sunday or 2 weeks. The time gap wasn't that big. I can't tell you exactly how long apart it was, but I asked her if I can go to church. And I ended up going to church on a Sunday, and I had an amazing time. I can feel the love of God there. I can feel that these people felt love and close to God. I can feel that these people love honoring their God, love worshiping their God. And I've never experienced that in any mosque that I ever went, in any Friday prayer I've ever went, in any Ramadan event I've ever went, in any Islamic cultural festivals. I've never felt anything like that. I never have. But it just kept leading to more confusions for me and more doubts. And I gotta admit, during that period, I really had a hard time pulling out of what I knew at this point can't be true anymore, because of certain things that I've learned, at least up to that point. I've learned more things that we'll discuss further in this channel. So after I had that encounter, and I went to church, I ended up going back to church. And my first time at church was on Resurrection Sunday. Like literally, it was just amazing how things was working out. I ended up going back to church again for a second or the third time when I went back. And I remember the pastor was preaching a beautiful sermon. It was amazing. And people were in the spirit. Some people were screaming, shouting. Some people was dancing. And some other people were praying in their prophetic language. And I remember the man saying, "Stand up, hold your neighbor's hand. God is about to sweep through your road and bless you and change everything for you." And I remember I was there. My girlfriend at the time was in the spirit doing what she was doing. The person next to me was also in the spirit, knew what they were doing. So I just closed my eyes and I opened my eyes again, and I was the only one in the church again, except the pulpit where the pastor would stand and preach turned into a throne, where he was sitting on the throne. Jesus Christ was sitting in the throne. He looked basically like how he looked when I saw him the first time. He was just sitting in the throne there and just staring at me with a huge smile on his face, and he never spoke to me. And on that moment, on that day, I broke down and I gave my life to Jesus Christ. I couldn't fight it anymore. I couldn't run away from it anymore. I gave my life to Jesus Christ on that day and was baptized in his name, and he completely set me free. And ever since that day, I get to experience something I've never experienced when I was a Muslim, and that is a true, genuine relationship with God, who is supposed to guide all mankind. When I talk to him and ask for guidance, he guides me. He responds back. He talks to me. He convicts me for things that I'm not supposed to do, right? And I've never felt anything so amazing. So it was one of the greatest moments of my life. And a little bit more time goes by. Maybe I would say about a year after that. And I want to share this part. There was a particular day, man, I was just working overnight at this time, and I just got off work. It's like 6 o'clock in the morning. I got off work. I got back to the house. It was about 6:30, 6:45. I took a shower, laid on the bed around 7 a.m. Woke up at like 9:30 a.m. It was like 2.5 hours. So normally I would be super tired, but I woke up energized after 2.5 hours sleep, just getting off work overnight. And I just knew something was going to happen on that day. I did. And I started cleaning the house, man. Listen, let me tell you something. I'm not a cleaner, all right? The Spirit had me cleaning the house. So I started cleaning the house, and I turned on some worship music. I started worshiping God like I've never worshiped before. And I heard the voice of God speak to me. Jesus spoke to me and said, call out my name like you never have. So I started calling out Jesus. And I started worshiping, and I started calling out Jesus. And I look outside I was in the bedroom when this was happening, but the door is open. It was an apartment, so I can see the front door, and then there's a kitchen right at the front door, and then like a hall, like a little walking path. And I could see a cloud of smoke coming in from the front door of the apartment. And then once all the smoke came in, it turned into a bird shaped like a dove. That's what it looked like. And then it came and got in my mouth and came in my belly and spun around in like a circle. And I could feel my body temperature rising as this is happening. And then I could feel whatever that came in, which I know now was the Holy Ghost, started coming out, and I started to speak in tongues. The Lord baptized me that day, speaking in tongues and with fire. And it was such an amazing feeling. And ever since then, God has basically pushed me to go into doing what He's called me. I was activated for basically ministry. And let me tell you something, man. Never a day in my life have I imagined that these hands will go out and be a substitute for what Jesus wants to do. I have laid hands on people. I have seen them get healed. I have seen miracles get done. I have seen demons get casted out. And I have seen people literally receive the gift of the spirits, and seen some people get delivered. And I never felt so fulfilled as such in my life. It was so fulfilling. I would make this decision 1,000 times over. And that's basically how Jesus came and changed my life. And now I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ, and my goals are to make more disciples.